Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Breaking news tonight, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is signing a 14-year, $500 million contract with Blake's Toronto Blue Jays. But before we go there, let's jump into what happened this weekend. Starting with the AL, Houston took two of three from the Twins. Detroit swept the White Sox. KC took two of three from the O's. Texas sweeping Tampa Bay. The Angels took two of three from the Guardians. In the NL, you had the Brewers taking two of three from the Reds, Cubs taking two of three from the Padres. That was a really good series there. Nats took two of three from the D-backs. Phillies and Dodgers also lived up to the hype. Two of three for the Phillies. Dodgers lose their first series. Miami and the Braves, they end up splitting 1-1 because the third game got rained out. So we'll have to wait on that later in the season. And then in the interleague, the Mets swept the Blue Jays. Red Sox swept the Cardinals, doubleheader today, and Sunday Night Baseball. It was a massacre. Then you had the A's take two of three from the Rockies, the Giants sweeping Seattle, and then the Yankees taking two of three from the Pirates. Blake, the Toronto Blue Jays have signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yep.
You've been nervous about this all off season. They get it done. There was a deadline. They didn't get it done at that point. They push into the season. Vlad says, I'm letting my team handle it.
Yep.
And it seems Ken Rosenthal passing. It's done. 14 years, 500 million. And for a team that we were kind of scared, what does the future look like? Well, you have Vlad sitting in the forefront of that future. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, for a team that has struck out on free agent after free agent after free agent the last 2, 3 years, to finally put the chips on a homegrown star that came up, you draft him as an international free agent 2015, and he's a multiple time All-Star. He's been in MVP races, right? It's awesome. And the future was looking pretty bleak. I mean, you let Vlad walk and let Bichette walk in free agency. You're looking at Andres Gimenez, Jose Barrios, and Anthony Santander under contract long term. Like that's not a team that you want, not guys that you want to build a team around. So the fact that this guy is going to be a Blue Jay for life, he's locked in for 14 years. It's awesome. You know, at the cost, it's not even that much either. It's 35 a year. Could he be a DH 10 years down the road? Sure. He for sure could be. But right now, he's in the prime of his career, 26, 27 years old. And for the Jays to get this guy locked up right now when that extension was in place and they didn't get it done, yeah, I'm just happy that the Jays finally ponied up on a homegrown guy.
Yeah, still work to do. Bo
Yeah.
Bichette is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Not sure at this point if the Jays will be able to get that done. Um, but maybe he sees the um, loyalty to Vlad, I should say.
Yeah.
And if the Blue Jays throw something on his table, maybe he goes, hey, we do have Santander for a couple of years. They do have Jimenez. Now they have Vlad. I'm that fourth piece. You can kind of build around that. Springer is getting older.
Yep.
His money will fall off. They could put it elsewhere.
Yep.
Some of those pitching contracts they've loaded up on, those guys are going to be gone soon. They could put that money elsewhere.
Yep.
So if they're able to get both, which I think will be really tough to do at this point, um, the Blue Jays could be looking to try to fight for that AL East for years and years to come. But
Yeah.
I mean, they already extended him once,
Right.
and you can either see that as a positive, as they have a pretty good relationship, or that was their chance.
Right.
It was kind of like they paid him through arbitration,
Yeah.
and that's it. He got paid through arbitration. At this point, he's like, let me go test the market and see what
The
I
thing
got.
about the
So,
thing with Vlad is too, like he's already making $30 million in arbitration. So it's not a huge raise AAV wise. Like it's $5 million extra per year. So like that's a positive for the Jays. It's not like financially, they're already at 30 mil with him right now. So that deal will start next year, obviously. But yeah, big day for Blue Jays fans for sure.
yeah. Alrighty, well, let's jump forward. The Giants have surprised us all. I mean, they just swept the Seattle Mariners. came back a couple times, lost some leads, but they've come out with some wins at the end of the day. And yeah, they're what, 8-1 now.
Yep.
Um, and
Leading the
they're
NL West.
they're right there with the Padres, with the Dodgers, who also started hot. We talked about our last video. The NL West is going to be a dogfight. This is a pleasant surprise for this Giants team, Giants fans, and if they can keep it going for a couple more games, I mean, we've talked about this in the past. I mean, some teams will just go off April, May, and
Yep.
then sizzle out throughout the season. But they created themselves so much space, so much leeway that they still sneak in the playoffs. I remember what a couple of years ago the Rays went like 20-4
Yep.
to start the year, and they were maybe 500 for the rest of the season and
Yep.
got to the playoffs. So um, this is the time to do it. If you can get off to a hot start, it's going to give you opportunity to uh, create some space, create some breathing room, and give you some leash. And I mean, I'm just going to talk about my team real quick, the Angels.
Yeah.
Right? They're 6-3. If they can continue doing what they're doing over the next 2 weeks, they're going to probably find themselves in a situation of being in it at the deadline, right? So it's the same thing with the Giants. You want to be in it at the deadline. If you be in it at the deadline, you add some pieces, anything can happen. And I'm not saying the Angels are going to do that. I'm just saying for my team specifically, um, these are the type of teams that need to get off to a hot start because the hot start is going to allow them opportunity down the road. It's going to pay dividends. But uh, staying in the AL
Yeah.
with the Angels, they're 6-3. The Rangers are 8-2,
Yep.
and the Yankees have been killing it. Other than that, the American League has been terrible.
It's been bad. Really
I
bad.
believe that there's three teams over 500, the ones I just listed, and then maybe two or three teams at 500. Everybody else is below. The Jays were in a good spot,
Yep.
but then they just got swept by the Mets, so now they're 500.
Yeah, so I'll just go
Um,
over it quick. So the Tigers are 5-4, the Yankees are 6-3, the Red Sox are 6-4, the Angels are 6-3, and the Rangers are 8-2. Other than the Jays, who are 5-5, everybody else is under 500.
Right. And the Red Sox just got over 500 today
Yep.
by taking the double header. So
Yep.
a couple more teams in that mix than I originally listed, but the American League as a whole has not been doing well, especially that AL Central and the bottom half of the AL West. I mean, it's the Mariners obviously just got swept. Their hitting woes have continued this year so far.
Yep.
Um, the Astros started off slow last year. Kind of seems like they're trying to figure themselves out this year with their new group. Uh, and the A's, I mean, I don't know if the expectations were high for them, but they kind of surprised some people last year.
Right.
And so far, it hasn't been great either. So yeah, I mean, we said the AL West is open in the past. We talked about the Central. It's a lot of teams that are under 500. I mean, Detroit did sweep this weekend to get above, it sounds like. So there is Detroit. The Guardians lost the series. The Twins also slow out of the gates. So
Right.
these two divisions in particular, you think they're going to beat up on each other at least enough, or you beat up on that bottom feeder of those divisions to give them some space because the AL East is so tight, so competitive that those teams, it's going to be tough to gain ground in that division, right? So if we're talking wild card, I'm looking at extra teams getting in the Central
Right.
like they did last year,
Mhm.
or extra teams getting in through the West because there's some weaker teams in that division. But the Angels, who are considered a weaker team in the AL West, is at the top of it right now. Be it it's only 9 games. My point being is if these teams cannot get it going soon, it's going to create a pretty big logjam when it comes to that wild card.
There's less wiggle room.
Right. I mean, I'm talking the trade deadline.
Yeah.
If I mean, these teams that you didn't expect to be in it, if you're going to allow a couple of those teams to be in it at the trade deadline, you might not make the playoffs this year
Yep.
because some teams are very hungry to get back to the playoffs, and some teams might just stick with what they got because of financial issue.
For teams that are struggling though, like which slow start concerns you the most? Is it Seattle? Is it Houston? Like who do you think it would be? Like in the AL that's struggling right now that you're like, ooh, that's they gotta get going.
Yeah, Seattle definitely is interesting because they're giving up some runs too. It's not just like the pitching has been
Minus
holding it down.
16
They're
run differential
losing.
right now.
Yeah, it's not like they're just losing 1-0 games like they were 2-1, 3-2, like they were before. Like they've given up some runs over the past couple of games. So,
Yep.
um, Seattle historically kind of a slow starter. They get hot later in the year. We'll see what happens there. Um, so they concern me. I would say before this weekend, Detroit, even though they played the Dodgers, like that is concerning to me just because we've talked about how they got hot at the right time. And that's how they made it to the playoffs. What are they going to be this year? Over the past couple of games, it's kind of looking like, well, maybe they are for real.
Yeah.
The Orioles, I would say, is a little bit concerning for me. I mean, they've kind of been blah like to start the year. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's clicking on all cylinders there right now. So, those three teams in particular come to mind. Guardians coming off of an ALCS appearance. What are they? Two wins, three wins. Um,
Three
I
and
know they
six.
just, yeah, 3-6 just lost 2 of 3 to the Angels. So,
Yep.
that's another team that went to the ALCS last year that started off slow, and they're a much different lineup than they were a year ago. So,
Yep.
um, well, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. It's just a hats off to the National League. I mean, the National League has been kicking the AL ass. I mean, we saw there was what 9, 10 games of interleague matchups, and
Yep.
National League's taking care of business. But as we move on, we'll talk about some guys and give them their flowers.
Yep.
Red hot hitters to start the year. Jose Ramirez, 3 homer game on Friday. Uh, this guy is not underrated. People say he's underrated. This guy is going to go to the Hall of Fame one day, most likely.
Yep.
Um, Kyle Tucker, 5 homers, 15 RBI, 1200 OPS to start the year. And Logan O'Hoppe, 4 straight homers and the last 4 games.
Yep.
First catcher ever in Angels history to do that. And yeah, I know I've been kind of talking about my team. I guess we've been talking about both of our teams on this one, but
Yeah.
we try to stray away from doing that. But
Yep.
who are some other guys that have caught your eye this year, other than
Oh,
those three?
well, obviously Judge, right? He's got 6 homers, 17 RBI. Even a guy like Tom Gedman, like not known for his power stroke, he's already got 5 homers. Um, like Willie Abreu, he went 2 for I think 5 today. His average was over 500 going into tonight. But yeah, it's incredible what Logan O'Hoppe's doing. It's very nice to see a guy like that. After the injury that he had last year, continue his power stroke, and he's obviously a big part of the Angels' turnaround of the future.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, let's take a look at what's next this week. In the American League, we have the Yankees taking on Detroit, Toronto taking on Boston, Minnesota Twins heading towards Kansas City to take on the Royals. Houston goes to play the Mariners. The Angels are taking on Tampa Bay. The White Sox are taking on the Guardians. And then the National League, you have the Cardinals taking on the Pirates. Miami taking on the Mets. The Dodgers taking on the Nats. Reds headed to San Francisco to take on the Giants. Phillies versus Atlanta. That's a huge series.
Yeah,
We didn't hit much on it this video.
they're one and
We did
eight.
on our last one. They're 1-8, and they gotta go take on the Phillies right now when they're down in the dumps. So I took them to turn this thing around, and they're still gonna make the playoffs. That's what I said. So the perfect time to start is tomorrow. Rounding out the National League, you have the Brewers taking on the Rockies, and then in the interleague, you have the O's taking on the D-backs, Texas taking on the Cubs, and the Padres taking on the A's. Blake, there's a lot of good series on here.
Yep.
Obviously, Phillies and Atlanta, um, Jays and Boston,
Yep.
even Yankees, Detroit. I mean, those are some that piqued my interest. Houston and Seattle, and then the interleague, O's, D-backs. Something's got to give between those two teams, right? Like
Yep.
somebody's gonna to I wouldn't say turn their season around. They're both doing fine right now, but this could be a momentum series there. Texas and the Cubs also uh, should be a fun one as well.
Yeah, for me, not to be biased, but whenever the Red Sox and Jays get together in Fenway, it's always high scoring, crazy games. All my eyes are on the Phillies and Braves. If the Phillies sweep the Braves, they're gonna be 1-11. How much lower can you go before it's like we're in big trouble? Obviously it's a long season, but what your old saying is pennants can't be won in April, but they can certainly be lost. That's kind of what we're looking at here for the Braves. But I'm with you. Got a lot of good matchups this week, and this past weekend was a lot of fun too. So looking forward to more exciting baseball.
Yeah, I think that Houston Seattle series is important right now,
Yep.
especially in the AL West in the scheme of it. One of those teams is going to lose two of three, if not get swept there. And if that happens, for whoever one it is, if it's Seattle, it could be maybe
Like
panic button
you're
time,
looking
even
at
though
three
we're
and
all,
ten if you get swept. Like that's
yeah. So, I would keep my eyes on that one. Again, O's and D-backs, very interested in that. And then, you know,
you get
the
to go to the
Guardians are,
play box. You get to go to a little sandbox in town down in Tampa. So that'd be interesting too.
yeah, Guardians are taking on the White Sox. I mean, the Guardians can take care of business there, sweep them there 500, and then
Yep.
you're not worried about a thing, right? So, Yankees and Detroit, it's going to be a big one. Detroit's already had the Dodgers, now they got to take on the Yankees, the two World Series teams from a year ago. And they've had them in the first 15 games of the year. It's tough. It's a tough go for their schedule. But, well, that's going to do it for this one. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. As always, we appreciate you guys for listening and watching. We'll see you on the next one. Later.